Welcome everyone to our second annual Mikdash Melech Alumni Shas Project, Siyum HaShas. This is big, this is really big. My name is Morris Betesh, aka Moby. I am the Mikdash Melech. Apparently I got one of these things. Moby Project Shas Coordinator. I'm your guy, I'm your go-to guy. You have any questions, concerns, information, call me. I'm your guy, my information's everywhere. I'm your guy. First off, I want to thank everyone for this past year. It was a complete pleasure dealing with everyone. It was a complete pleasure calling everyone. I had a real nachat connecting with the alumni. Before we begin our program, I'd just like to start with a story. This past Friday night, I was sitting at my Shabbat table with a guest. They're Brooklyn folk. I live in Lakewood, and I had some, foreigners at my table for Shabbat. After the meal was over, my wife said, let's walk them out the door, down the block. Chochmat Isha Banta Beta. I listened to my wife. We were taking them down a stroll, extra milaveh, all the way down the block. And me and this, my buddy, and our families are walking, and we see around the bend like a unruly crowd of boys. And I turn to my buddy, I look him in the eyes, I tell him, think we could take him? And he looks at me and says, we got this. I go like this. And, it was a joke, but they came closer, and he goes, hey, the friend, he goes, hey, what are you doing? How are you? Good to see you. He knew every single one of the boys, and I'm standing there a little uncomfortable. I opened my mouth and said, hey, who are you? And one of them opens up and he says, my name is so-and-so. I'll drop his name right now. It's Albert Kodari. Kodari? What? You're Kodari? You're the guy I've been speaking to for the past 2 years? We hug. I'm telling you, it was mamash like Yosef and Yaakov when they met after 22 years, kissing each other's necks, crying. It was beyond. Next guy, Banbaji. Whoa, you're Banbaji. You, Shlomo Kamkaji. Kamkaji, are you serious? Every single one of the boys, I had the most, I knew them. I never saw them before. I know them. I'm connected to them. They came after I invited them all over to my house. We were spending time till 1 o'clock in the morning. We spent shmoozing emunah and bitachon in my house. Zabaros for those boys, but they were real B'nai Torah. How did I have this connection with them? Why did I feel so connected? Because we made a conscious decision, me and them, to stay connected to our yeshiva, even though we're outside of a yeshiva. We're not in Mikdash anymore. We're in Mikdash. We're not there, but we're there. Just having a connection keeps something alive. You take a branch of a tree, rip it off, it starts to wither away. It's connected, it's alive. A boy when he leaves his yeshiva, doesn't make that connection. Unfortunately, all the lessons starts to not the same feel. Bottom line, everyone here who came here tonight, just by showing up at the event, you're making a connection. You're making that connection, you're keeping it alive. Kol shechen al kol shechen, who takes part of Shas. Kol shechen al kol shechen, you're making a connection. B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to keep that connection alive. When you keep that connection, the Torah of your Rabbeim is alive. The Musa that they gave you is alive. The rabbis, even though not in front of you, they're alive. B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to keep it alive. Quick piece of information. Outside, you have these Siyum HaShas, sign up to learn little cards. This is your Shas card. It's a little bit different than last year. It's a lot more personalized. You're not doing 15 daf, 15 daf, 15 daf. We wanted someone to take, I'm learning El Mitzias this month. I'm going to look, what slot is that? I want to take El Mitzias and I want to learn it good. I'm taking, my goal is I want to finish a whole Masechet this month. And I'm going to take a whole Masechet. You have a whole year to finish a Masechet. It's personalized, it's catered to you, as opposed to you catering it to us. Each guy figure, I can handle a daf. A daf, go to the other section, right? I am doing one daf of Ploni Masechet. It's okay if it overlaps. My job, it's my avodat parech to finish Shas, speak to other guys, and it's my job over the year. B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to have a wonderful evening. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce the MC of the night, Rabbi Ralph Gindi.
Good evening. Beruchim Habayim, welcome everybody to the second annual Siyum Hashas. B'shut the Rosh Yeshiva, Rav Chaim. B'shut the special Rabbi who came all the way from Eretz Yisrael to be with us tonight. Honored rabbis, and of course, distinguished Mikdash alumni. The theme of tonight's event is Etz Chaim. I think there's two reasons why this name is apropos for this Mikdash Siyum Hashas. When you want to know if someone is physically alive, you check his pulse. That's the minimum to know if a person's alive. If you want a stronger sign of life, you look for some movement. If you want a stronger sign of life, you look for activity. He's jogging, he's playing ball, he's working out, he's in shape, he's alive. In the spiritual world, it works the same way. A person who wears tzitzit, prays once a day, we have a pulse. He prays 3 times a day b'yahid, he learns here and there, we have some movement. But then you have a person who's kovea itim leTorah. He prays b'minyan seriously 3 times a day. A person that's looking to grow, to strive. This is activity. This is the full meaning of life, spiritually alive. The definition of Mikdash alumni that we have here tonight are people that are b'nei aliyah, people who are thirsty to grow, people who are alive. This is what Mikdash Melech breeds, people who are spiritually alive in the full sense of the word. Tonight is this very special, uplifting gathering to reap chizuk from each other as we are unified together under one roof as Mikdash Melech b'nei aliyah. I would like to open up the evening with a bold personal statement or a confession that I'm sure many of us could share in this room. Not one day goes by without thinking about and reliving the days of Mikdash Melech Yerushalayim. Not one day. Mikdash is the source and the wellspring that I constantly go back for chizuk, for clarity, for fire, for strength. It is our foundation, the beginning of our transformation into Bnei Torah. The rabbis of Mikdash Melech, with their selfless commitment, have passed over to us their very own burning love of Torah. They infuse this love into our hearts in a way that I can personally say I'm still living off of it today. Any excitement we have for Torah, any bren we have, is all rooted and as a result of our days in Mikdash Melech. It's been 17 years that I've left Mikdash Melech, and believe it or not, I still say Af al Gav the way that Rabbi Balanson says it. They gave us the biggest gift in the world, a gift that every parent wishes for their child. They gave us Ahavat HaTorah. My family was zocheh to have a very close relationship with Rabbi Victor Miller, Zeichet Tzadik Bracha. Thanks to my father. My father was able to get a small shmooze every Friday night with the Rav. We would pray in Achayezer down the block, and right after Arbit, we would run to say Shabbat Shalom to the Rabbi. He would invite us into his small vestibule of his apartment. There was no lights on in the room. There was just a little ray of light that shone in through the window. We would ask a question, and the rabbi would spend 7 to 10 minutes answering our questions. This went on for 7 years. Once my father didn't have a question prepared, and the rabbi, he looked at us, he asked any questions, there was silence. He just told us, good Shabbos, and we left. As I came to Mikdash Melech in the summer of 2000, and was getting ready to go back for Pesach Ben Azmanim, Rabbi Hab requested that I ask Rabbi Miller the following question. Is it better to teach Torah to Baalei Teshuvah or to be a Magid Shi'ur in Panovich Yeshiva? I told him I'll try, even though I don't know if I'll be back here to give you the answer, but I'll give it a swing. I returned to the States and prayed with my father that night in Achiyezid. I told my father the question. My father said, it's a nice question, but Ralph, I'm sorry. The truth is the last 2-3 years, the rabbi hasn't been asking us for questions. As we walked in, the rabbi would just start to talk and give us hashkafa, what was on his mind. We walked in that night to the vestibule, and there was silence in the room, and the rabbi looked at us and he asked us, any questions? My father, in panic, starts giving me an elbow. He says, Ralph, you're on. I start to jitter in my pants, and I tell the rabbi, I asked the rabbi the question, is it better to teach and create Baalei Teshuvah or to teach in the Panovich Yeshiva? He looked up at me, and the rabbi said, can you please repeat the question? I said, Tachilak, such a bad question. I repeated the question, and the rabbi looked at me, and he asked me, how old are you? I said, 18 years old. He said, I was 24 years old when I asked the same question to Rav Isaac Sher as I was walking him home from the Slobodka Yeshiva with the sun setting behind my back. Rabbi Hub hit the jackpot. And the rabbi answered, the greatest chesed anyone could do in this world is learn Torah on its deepest level. Hashem gave the Torah to be learned to its depth. This is the greatest chesed you can do for the world. He said, I was once giving a shmuz to the Baalei Batim over here in the shul, and I told them how important learning Gemara was. And one of the boys, men, stood up in protest and said, Rabbi, you're always talking about learning Gemara. What about chesed? And the rabbi said, sir, when you're playing poker with your friends on Saturday night, do you ask, what about chesed? When you open up the Gemara, the Yetzer Hara tells you, what about chesed? This is the Yetzer Hara. The biggest chesed one could do for Klal Yisrael, said the rabbi, is learn Torah. The rabbi, after speaking to us for 12 minutes this time, at the end of speaking, he looked at me in the eyes and he repeated about 5 times, make yourself into a Tamid Hacham. Make yourself into a Tamid Hacham. This is the greatest chesed you could do for the world. I walked out of there shooken up, and right then and there I decided I'm definitely going back to Mikdash for another Zman. I have to make myself a Tamid Hacham. This was, believe it or not, the last Pegisha, the last meeting after 7 years that we met with Rabbi Miller in the vestibule. As 3 weeks later, the rabbi passed away at the end of Pesach Ben Azmanim. The biggest chesed one can do is learn Torah and become a Tamid Hacham. We owe our lives and our daily strive to become Tamidei Hachamim to the Rabbeim at Yeshivat Mikdash Melech. They gave us the right hashkafa, the tools to become true Tamidei Hachamim, and the biggest Baalei Chesed we can be.